Appreciate you being here. Probably thinking about retirement. You may have came in through one of our programs where you're building your own financial plan, or maybe you've booked a call with me already. And this video was sent to you as a way for you to get to know me a little better and the process that we take our clients through when we're talking about retirement income planning or protecting your income in retirement, trying to save money on taxes, things like that. So I think this will be useful for you. Um, Very basic, but at least something that can we can talk a little bit about my experience with people and what I've seen over the last 20 years as I've helped hundreds of people retire. Um, One of my favorite things to do is actually celebrate, and that's a great time in folks' lives. So if you are thinking about retirement, congratulations. Looking forward to celebrating that with you. If you need to hurry your timeline along, by all means, reach out to my team and let us know what you're thinking, and we're happy to help facilitate whatever that looks like for you. But what we're going to go over today, this is the agenda, just how your retirement plan measures up. Imagining if you're already in retirement, so what are things going to look like for you in the future? What are your goals? Doing some vision exercises and things like that. Identifying all the potential sources of income. You probably already know what those are, but we can go over those together. Determining your withdrawal strategy. So, what's the most efficient way to take money out of these accounts? And how long can you let Social Security grow, Medicare? There's lots of different decisions to be made about retirement income planning. Again, taxes become a major drag. So, if you're here because you've got over $1 million and you're only 60 years old, at age 73, if you've been saving pre-tax for your entire working career, it can become a pretty big problem. So we can talk about how to get ahead of that. And we'll do a quick case study on a hypothetical case study on the Doe family. And then we'll talk a little bit more about what it might look like for us to have a consultation. Of course, if you want to do that, you can go to andyrogers.com, and at my calendar's there. You can go ahead and book some time with me. But let's get into this. So a retirement income plan helps you determine, how much money you're going to need on a month-to-month basis, where that retirement income is going to come from, what's the most tax efficient way to take that income, depending on what your savings look like. Obviously retirement planning is very specific to each individual. So that's why I do recommend that you schedule an initial consultation and because everyone is so different. But thinking about retiring and managing that money for the next 30 years, 40 years, I've got some clients that just reached 100 years old, and we've been working together for quite some time. So it's amazing how long humans are living nowadays. And so we want to plan for a long time and make sure that we never run out of money and protect ourselves along the way. So these are just some interesting stats. People that are working, a lot of times they're not thinking about where money is going to be coming from once they're no longer working. And the ideas are a little bit different as far as, what people are thinking versus what actually happens in retirement. And, I won't bore you too much with this stuff, but the fact is that, a third of Americans almost don't have a lot of retirement savings. So hopefully that's not you. Um, and a lot of times when I'm working with folks, they're 401k millionaires up here in the Northwest. There's some huge companies. So the strategies are a lot different for folks that have significant amounts of assets going into retirement. And we've got some great strategies for those as well. This video will be a little more basic. But the fact is that most people, um, you know, only 34% of Americans actually have an IRA. So, again, just kind of some sad statistics about our current economic situation here in the United States and that we're woefully behind in our financial planning when it comes to retirement planning. The IRS has actually stepped up some of the rules around that. So they're starting to allow folks to put money into their 401k and do that post-tax. So a lot of times now we're finding that you probably, if you've got a 401k and you're contributing to it, you have the option to put money into a post-tax Roth IRA. That way the money's going to grow tax-free. And then in the future, you're not going to be taxed on that down the road as well. Doesn't really help you on your taxes now, but that's a good way to do things. Um, I'll probably go down some rabbit holes here. I tend to do that. I'm passionate about certain things when it comes to retirement income planning. So only 16% of Americans over age 50 take advantage of the catch-up provision, which allows you to put more money into these retirement accounts if you're over age 50. They've even changed those rules more now. So there's additional catch-up period for if somebody's, over age 60, between 60 and 65. So the IRS is really starting to accommodate for the fact that we're woefully behind as Americans. Again, hopefully that's not you. Um, but if it is, by all means, it's a great time to reach out to a professional and start that planning process. So, okay, going on from here. So, are you on track? Only 41% of Americans age 60 plus thinks that their retirements are on track. So if you're one of those folks and you're a little bit uncertain, that's why we're here. We want to make sure that you get more certain, that, certainty is very important, and we can do that through the planning process. We run projections. We've got great software. We've got great tools available to us where you and I can work together on your particular situation and run some projections and make sure that every step of the way we're making good plans, and we're also making good decisions because we've made good plans. Um, so only 36% of Americans have $250,000 or more saved up for retirement. It's kind of a sad reality. Hopefully you're one of those folks that has over $1 million. That's, who we're catering to pretty much in my firm at this point. But we do work with people that have down to $250,000. I know companies like Fisher Investments, they look at people half a million and over. So we're happy to work with you. On a one-off basis if you do have less than that. But give us a call. We can talk to you about how we can help. If you are behind, we're happy to get you caught up, or at least try and get you a plan in place to where you have more confidence. So how much, where are you going to live? How much are you going to need? What are you going to do? How long are you going to live? What surprises did life hold? How much income are you going to need on a monthly basis? Just coming up with all that stuff, super important. I've got some worksheets and things like that that we can send out to you. Budget worksheet, I know the word budget is horrible, um, but it helps to have one when you're planning for retirement, at least understanding what your expenses are going to be. Call it cash flow worksheet. A lot of times when we use the word cash flow, it doesn't sound as bad as the word budget. So little language trickery there. So where are you going to live? Proximity to the family, what are you going to do for care, employment, business opportunities, travel plans? What climate do you want to be in? What culture? My wife and I recently bought a property in Costa Rica, so we're interested in um, being farmers and working on the land and trying to preserve and protect some property in a very beautiful country that's not even the United States, right? So whatever that means for you guys, we want to flush that out so that we know exactly how to execute on those plans. Um, Moving on here, how much are we going to need? Are you going to downsize? Are you going to rent a place? Are you going to buy a vacation home like we were just speaking about? Or are you going to travel? Are you going to sell everything and become a nomad? Whatever your plan is, we want to make this plan specific to you and your goals. So again, the planning process is kind of the fun part for me, understanding what your goals and dreams are and then making those a reality. Um, what will you do? A lot of people tell me, Andy, I think I'm going to probably work a little bit in retirement, or some people like to volunteer, or maybe they find a small business, or they actually start a second business or a third business. So, some of my business owner clients, they're on their fourth or fifth business. So, helping with transactions between business owners, buying and selling, creating succession plans and things like that are very exciting for me as well. I'm a certified exit planning advisor. So, SEPA, I've got a specific designation for helping business owners who are interested, in passing a business along, possibly to employees or possibly through an acquisition. I'm also, part of a company called acquisitions.com where there's a marketplace of people that are accumulating businesses in certain different, um, fields and things like that. So if you are a business owner and you want to talk more about that, obviously put that in our appointment schedule and we can go over those things together. Hobbies, travel, again, business ownership stuff. All these things are super important to flesh out. how long you're going to live. All this would be so much easier if we just knew how long we were going to live, right? But that's not the case. Again, people are living to be over 100 years old. I wrote a book a few years back and I talk about the blue zones throughout the country or and throughout the world where people live to be over 100, more so than other places. So those are places like Greece, and there's one in California and Japan, Costa Rica. So there's a few places where people live longer. And with AI and the advances in technology, I think we're going to continue to see that accelerate going forward. Um, living100.com is a website you can go to, but we want to ensure that your money's going to last at least till 95, 100 years old, right? So again, nothing that I'm telling you here in this presentation is obviously rocket science or something that you probably didn't know. But some of these surprises that are coming up here when it comes to health and things like that. My personal story is with my grandfather. You know, he was a real estate guy and he accumulated a lot of real estate throughout his life, but he had a very bad plan when it came to unwinding that real estate. And he actually started to have health issues in his mid 50s, heart attacks, strokes. And by the time he was 60, he was already having to liquidate his real estate to pay for his health care. And that is a bad plan. So I've seen what not to do. And a lot of times when you're working with an advisor, it's helpful for somebody to come to you to say, hey, here's the realities of things. Here's, you know, the path that you're on. Here's the things that I've seen of people that have similar situations. Here's how to get you from point A to point B in a way that's secure and, um, you know, have that all mapped out. Um, so again, health, family, economy, major disasters. I'm a big proponent of long-term care. Um, Again, these are, you know, worksheets. We can get some downloads over to you. We've got checklists and things like that. So when you receive this video, you might have got one of our, um, you know, financial documents checklists. Those are super helpful to just have all of your documents in place so that if we do meet, we can go over those documents together, make sure you've got all your stuff in order. If you do have a budget or some sort of expense, worksheet filled out. That's super helpful for our initial consultation as well, because I can really, the more data I have, the easier it is for me to help you make good decisions. So identifying all potential sources of income, Social Security, pensions, annuities. I work with annuity specialists at this point, and she does a really good job of helping people figure out if they should take a piece of their retirement savings and move it over to a company that's going to generate a pension for them through an annuity. So that can guarantee your income for life. So a lot of times when we're talking with new retirees, setting up a piece of their retirement income so that they know they're never going to outlive it if they don't have a pension is a really good way to go. Part-time work, investment properties. You know, I've got several rentals. A lot of my clients up here in the Northwest, I recommend that we, you know, hang on to real estate because real estate appreciates pretty fast here in Seattle. So just hang on to that real estate, trying to be a landlord. I know a lot of people don't like being landlords, but it is very advantageous to hang on to property and, um, you know, generate income from real estate. So business interests, you know, if you are selling a business, you know, how do you unwind that over the course of time? I've helped dozens of business owners retire, and, you know, I've seen these payout options and things like that. I've seen mergers, acquisitions, and a lot of different ways to retire, depending on, you know, your background and things like that. So again, happy to help. So retirement income characteristics. So Social Security does grow. They've been ratcheting it up pretty good here the last couple of years. Pensions, sometimes they can be fixed. So a lot of times with our Boeing employee clients and here in the Northwest, we recommend, hey, maybe if you get the lump sum option, it might be better to take the lump sum because pensions, the pension from Boeing does not grow. So it's a static pension. It doesn't have a COLA. If you're a government employee or, you know, military, work with a lot of folks, you know, teachers and things like that. They do have COLA, cost of living adjustments on their pensions, which is great. But for most corporations, if they have a pension at all, that pension typically is static, so it doesn't increase with inflation. So we have to figure out how to protect ourselves against that in the future. average retirement income sources. Social Security is kind of top of the top of the list there, right? So company funded pensions are about 14%. 401ks are less than pensions even. So if you do have a 401k and it's a large piece of your retirement, I really enjoy that because there's Roth conversion strategies and different things that we can do to try and save you money on taxes in the future. But if your goal is just to try and figure out where the income is coming from, and your 401k is not enough, then we really need to figure that out. And a lot of that's going to come down to budgeting, right? So sometimes people don't like to hear that. My favorite clients to work with actually are the ones where we end up saying, "Hey, you got to spend some more of this money. There's too much here. We're either going to have to figure out how to, create a legacy, make this have meaning for you in the future." And so, I've been working a lot with philanthropy and figuring out how we can build a legacy for our clients that are never going to run out of money. What can we do to make life more purposeful, more meaningful, and so that you wake up excited every day in retirement, more excited than when you were working, to get up and do the thing that you love to do. That's the most important part about retirement. And none of this means anything if you don't have your health, right? So just paying close attention to your health going forward. Love working with my clients and making sure that they are getting out, exercising, and being close to nature, especially if you don't have to show up at the office every day, right? Social Security, letting on paper, if you let Social Security grow, it always looks better. But that's not the reality of it. Sometimes people need income earlier. So again, we're not opposed to in a down market year, if we haven't turned on Social Security, we turn on Social Security, let our retirement accounts grow, and potentially look at different income sources um, going forward. Pensions, most people don't even have them nowadays. If you're a government worker or military teachers, things like that, mostly have pensions nowadays. How much it's going to be? What are the options? If you've got a spouse, how can we plan for that? Running a pension optimization strategy is something that we do for all of our clients. So security maximization, tax efficiency, all these things are just what we do all day, bread and butter for us here at Mainspring. So again, if you've been on this call with me here for a little bit, if you want to schedule time to meet, my calendar, you can go to andyrogers.com and schedule. It's rodgers.com. My calendar's there. Um, andyscalendar.com, I believe, works as well. So, anyways, earnings from work. A lot of people say, Andy, I'm probably going to get a part-time job. I want to get out of the house a little bit. So that's great. What are you going to do? A lot of times we're building maybe an outbuilding on the house, an ADU, getting involved in real estate, getting involved in fixing up properties. Those are all great ways to keep yourself busy and at the same time stay healthy, get some exercise, get out of the house, and go do some fun stuff, and possibly earn some money while you're doing it. So annuities. So again, I love talking about annuities because it is a way to put an insurance wrapper around a retirement account, right? So a long time ago, a bunch of retirement, investment people got together with a bunch of insurance people and they said, hey, you can insure everything right now. You can insure your life, your car, your health, all these different things, but you can't insure your retirement account. So they figured out a way to do that, and annuities is the way to put insurance on your retirement account, which means if the account does go to zero, they're going to keep sending you a paycheck for the rest of your life. And so if you're interested in something like that, obviously guaranteed income for life. Um, while interest rates are higher like they are right now. So today it's March 5th, 2025. Interest rates are a little bit higher than they have been over the past years. So this is a good time to lock in good interest rates in an annuity. A lot of annuity companies out there, and they're all competing for your business. So we have the ability to shop around and find the best annuity for your situation. So if you are interested in talking about annuities as a place to, protect your retirement income, we'd love to talk to you about that. Again, go ahead and schedule some time on my calendar, and I work with an annuity specialist that can narrow it down specifically to what you're trying to do, and we can find the carrier and the product, the thing that is going to work best for you for the least cost, that's going to be the most tax efficient. That's what we do for our clients. So that's a little bit about annuities, income from investments, personal savings. Like I said, right now, interest rates are a little bit higher. So we're able to generate anywhere from 4 to 8% interest on, just very basic investments. Some income funds that we have now. Obviously, the more interest you get, the more risk you take. But we do have some, alternative strategies that are generating anywhere from, 6 to 9% interest. They are volatile, so they can move around. And obviously, I have to give you a disclaimer that, if you do qualify for alternative asset strategies, we can talk more about that on our call. So, but we do have ways to generate a good amount of interest right now because interest rates are higher. And so I love talking about alternative investments. Those are things like, hedge funds and buy sell funds. We've got private credit, private equity, 1031 exchanges if you do have real estate and you want to sell it and you want to try and defer the taxes. So there's a lot of different alternative strategies. Right here are, obviously IRAs, Roth IRAs, SEPs, Simples, Kias. Haven't seen a Kia in a long time. 401k, 457, 403Bs, one, cash, brokerage accounts, non-qualified accounts. So we deal with them all here. We clear through a company called Raymond James. Raymond James produces all our statements for us. I work for a company called Mainspring. We're independent. We specifically work for you. And so our job is to go out. I'm a CFP, so I'm a fiduciary advisor. I'm going out, finding the best strategy, the best thing that is right for your situation, and I'm putting your interests above the interests of any organization or anything else. So I strictly work for my clients. Again, if you are a business owner, I do have the Certified Exit Planning Advisor certification, which helps me, connect business owners with buyers and connect sellers and buyers and people that are acquiring businesses. And, who knows, maybe your business has value. If you're a solo business owner, then sometimes we can figure out how to turn your business into a viable asset that can actually be something you can sell in the future. So that's exciting. Home equity, real estate investments, business ventures, inheritances, trusts. Obviously, you guys understand all this stuff. So determining your withdrawal strategy, they're putting out the 4% rule here, bucketing strategies. I really love, telling people, hey, if you've got a near-term bucket, we're talking 0 to 3 years, we're going to make that, less risky. It's probably not going to earn as much, but we do want to set that money aside so that in the next 3 years, you know that there's going to be cash there for you. And then we start to ladder it up and we say, hey, we can get you, 4 to 6% interest for anything that you need for the next 3 to 7 years. That'd be for emergencies. And then anything more than that, we want to try and get that money to grow so that if you live to be 100, 105, 110 years old, then you're going to have money there and that money is going to be growing. And it's going to be, subject obviously to the volatility of the market, but we do have, again, alternative strategies that we can offer that we would love to discuss with you if you do qualify for them and that's something you're interested in. So, uh, living off interest, like I was saying, if you got $1 million and we're able to generate 5%, can you live off 50 grand a year? That's up to you. So some people they're kind of homebodies. They've retired, they've worked really hard, and now they're just going to hang out at the house. I'm a big proponent of wealth and wellness, though. So I do, again, everything comes down to health for me when it comes to retirement. And making sure that you spend the best years of your life being healthy and enjoying it, living an abundant lifestyle, spending money and not pinching every penny. Because that's what you did. You saved really hard, you worked really hard, and this is your retirement. So I want it to be the way that you want it to be. So, okay, 4% rule, I think you guys get it. If you're taking 4% out of $1 million account, that's 40 grand a year. That's kind of the rule of thumb at this point. So we can talk more about that on our call. buckets. Like I was using 0 to 3. This one uses 0 to 5, 5 to 10, 10 plus. So we can go over that. We've got softwares where we can put all of your information in there. We can come up with these bucketing strategies for you, tell you how much you need to have in each bucket, and make sure that we've got the correct strategy for you. Um, and then mandatory expenses. I was thinking they were talking about mandatory required minimum distributions at age 70. Pros and cons of different approaches. Again, I think you guys get it. Taxes. If you're watching this video and you got to this point, and you're here because you've heard me talk about taxes, and is your IRA an IOU to the IRS? Yes, it is. If your 401k, if you've been putting pre-tax money away for your whole life and you've got over 1 million, 2 million, 3 million, 5 million bucks in your 401k, you've got issues. And so come see us. We can help you put together a plan that can help minimize taxes over the long run. So do that right away. Let's get started on that. Um, don't hesitate. Um, how retirement income is taxed. Again, we can go over this on our call. So again, sign up. Depending on what type of account you have, there's 3 tax breaks the IRS is ever going to give you, and they're never going to give you all 3. If the account is taxable, pre-tax, like 401k, if it's tax deferred, think about you put something in, the money grows tax deferred, and so that's got 1 tax break to it, or tax free, right? So tax free, like a Roth IRA, means that you didn't get the tax break up front, but the money's growing tax free, and when you take the money out of the account, it's going to be non-taxable at that point in time. We really love tax-free accounts. The more we can get stuffed into these, you know, tax-free accounts, the better for you long term, the better for your beneficiaries down the road. So those are the plans that I'm interested in making with folks, as well as gifting, right? So forming a legacy, giving back to your community, giving back to your, church or whatever is important to you. Love seeing people do that. And I love seeing people get tax breaks for being charitable. So if that's you and that rings a bell with you, by all means, jump on a calendar. Let's go. Let's do this case study. I didn't even really look at this case study, but I'd imagine, they've got some different accounts. They've got the 401ks, they've got the Roths, they've got their IRA, they've got their money in their house, so they've got equity built up. Do you have a HELOC? Do you have a way to access the money if you've got a bunch of real estate? That's pretty important, especially pre-retirement, to make sure that if you're up here in the Northwest, we're very house rich. So everyone's got, $1 million houses and no one can get at any of the money. So having a plan for that is super important as well. Not something that a lot of advisors speak about because most advisors are just talking about investments. So having a plan for all this stuff is what we do as CFPs and what we do here at Mainspring. We create comprehensive, plans for whatever your situation is. We can accommodate, and we've been accommodating for the last 20 plus years. So income, Social Security, they've got everything kind of spelled out here. Their mortgage and their expenses for the year are 73 grand, so that's very common. I've got clients that are spending 150 grand a year, in early retirement. So it really depends on your situation, where is that money coming from, and let's put together a plan to figure that out. um, Doing studies on cash flow. If you want to see some of these studies and you want us to put your situation into these softwares and do the projections for you, that's what we do for a living. I'm happy to do that. During our consultations, I'll show you our capabilities. We've got the ability to put together a very solid plan for you. The more information you can get us about your situation, the more accurate the plan we can put together. Again, legacy case study. So we're talking about, I've got a couple that's retiring right now, trying to get them to see the estate planning attorney. So a lot of times us working together with the accountants and the attorneys to make sure that you've got a plan that's solid, that's going to take care of your beneficiaries, your community, the organizations that are important to you. That's what we consider gifting. Love to watch people gift during their lifetimes and love to see the recipients, receive those gifts too. It's really fun to watch, as a financial advisor. So that's some of the most rewarding part about my job. The ups and downs of the market is maybe not the most fun, but seeing people give money away to charities and to things that are meaningful to them is amazing. Um, so anyways, how do we get started? Where do we go from here? So you just schedule some time on my calendar. So again, andyscalendar.com or andyrodgers.com, I think has all my calendars on there. You can call the office. We work out of Tukwila, which is, um, east of the airports here in SeaTac or Tukwila. So 206-433-1700. Andy at mainspringwa.com is my email address, or you can just go to Andy's calendar or andyrodgers.com to schedule a time. So, here's the action plan. So, gather up all your documents, get everything ready, come pick my brain, and I'm happy to sit down and go over your situation with you. Then typically I come back in a second meeting, make some recommendations. We can talk a little bit more about what it might look like for us to work together. Again, I'm a fiduciary advisor, so I can charge for the planning, but typically I love to help people manage assets and create a good tax efficient plan. Roth conversions, income planning is much easier to do when you can control all the accounts and they're no longer at the 401k companies. They're actually, been rolled over into an IRA. But that's, again, depending on your situation. So I'm not making a blanket statement about anything. Financial areas to review. Imagine there's some disclaimers coming up here. Life planning, that's what we do. We plan for life. Budgeting, I don't like that word. Cash flow is kind of king. Account management, figuring out where monies are going to come from, and then portfolio management. How are the investments performing? So we can do all that for you here. Once again, my name is Andy Rodgers. Oh, there's my disclaimer. This presentation, you should always talk to a tax advisor before you do anything. And when it comes to estate planning, we want to work with a qualified estate planner, which we have those as well. We're happy to refer um, our clients and our prospective clients to the people that we work with. There's a bigger disclaimer. There might even be several of those. But yeah, andyscalendar.com to schedule a consultation. There's our address, my email address. Give us a call. Thanks for sticking around. Have a great night.